the stuff that comes across from that plane of existence, it's not something you can easily. I mean, that's why you're in the ineffable. And we always joke about that, how that sounds, but you're in the ineffable, and to be able to bring back something effable from that, and I know I'm using that term incorrectly, but
I mean, I think it makes sense.
It's near impossible. So when I say I can't give you like, hey, I was in this place and this is what was around me and it was. I'm telling you, man. Were we going to start with my experience this week, or?
I do like the idea of getting into your NDE.
Yeah.
You know,
but the whole story, I think you were, which you'd probably have to help with some, because I don't even remember. It's still foggy, like the time period around the incident.
I mean, I'm okay with giving context as to how it came about, but I think more so.
What were we doing that very day?
We were just hanging out.
This would have been 94?
No. So we were in high school. Wasn't it your senior year?
No, it was before my senior year.
Yeah, that would have been 94. Yeah, summer 94.
It was 94. It was like just a few weeks into the summer, I think.
I think it was mid. So, like, I want to say it was after 4th of July. Well, no, because what I remember was timing-wise, we had
already done an activity.
Well, my family had just done our summer vacation where we go up to the mountains and water ski for the week. And you had come up and actually water skied for your first time, which I felt was ironic because you've never done it since, and that was the only time, and you don't really remember it. So it's like you have water skied.
Bits and
you
pieces.
just don't know it.
It was just, I remember tasting the water.
Yeah, you didn't really water ski per se.
Yeah, I kind of clapped the surface of the water too, so I got a different experience from that.
Yeah, you had a couple face plants. That was for sure.
But I don't fully recall like the entire day. I remember you had to fill me in on a lot of this. Like I had to depend on a lot of my friends that were around me at that time to fill in the gaps of what had happened.
Well, right, and that was more from the concussion aspect of the accident.
I took quite a jolt.
I mean, for me personally, it was probably one of the not so much scariest in the sense of, like traditional scare. Somebody jumps out and they're like, it scared me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was life or death kind of a feeling, which it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from my perspective, after the accident happened, you're laying on the ground, and we're goofballs. So we would do stupid shit just to mess with each other.
It's so true.
So I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just like, come on, buddy. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. This is hilarious. And then...
Because that's what you want to think. Yeah, that it was just me goofing.
Yeah. That would, I mean...
Any other day?
My assumption would be, yeah. I mean, because any other day, that's exactly what it would have been. So it's not that's what my hope was. That was my assumption. Now, mind you, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, so it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's pitch black out. There's not a lot of light back then. There's not a ton of street lights, anything like that. There's not a lot of light pollution from surrounding areas. And I just remember your head tilted just enough that I could see the light refracting off of the blood that was pouring out of your ear. And that's what that flipped the switch.
Yeah.
I snapped and I just started screaming bloody murder. I literally woke up your neighborhood screaming help. And one of your neighbors pops out and they're like, "Oh my God, what do you?" I'm like, "Contact what?" Like I'm just freaking out.
I wonder if I just repressed all that or if it's just because I feel like I wasn't there. I felt like at that point I was gone.
What, you were convulsing and bleeding from the ears. So consciously, not happening, bro.
Yeah, I was having a post-traumatic seizure.
Yeah.
I think you guys all filled it. And I can laugh now because I've been filled in on all this stuff over the years. And our other friend, who's still weird around me because we don't see each other all the time, like he still looks at me and remembers that day. Like I can see it in his eyes. And I'm past it. I'm so far past it. Because I've come to terms with the fact that that totally formed who I am as a person.
I get that.
Or gave it quite an assist anyway. It was humbling, I guess is a good way to put it. Didn't have to relearn everything from scratch, but I had to learn how to walk again. That was weird.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you also having to write? You had to get that motor skill back a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And your ability to write was not as clear or easy.
I mean, not that I was ever that great anyway, but
I think you have great handwriting.
oh.
That's neither here nor there. But yeah, so long story short, you have incident, causes you to have concussion.
So do we tell the story the way it happened? So
again, I don't think we really need to get into it for overall context.
I was doing something dumb I shouldn't have been doing at low speeds.
Either way, the result was you had massive concussion, went into, I believe, coma.
A skull fracture on the temporal.
Yeah, and for that you were in literal coma for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's
something like that.
They say it's a protective device. The body just you basically had shut down.
Yeah,
everything was shut down except for that core stuff, because I was also told later that it took at least four full-grown people to hold me, men to hold me down, because my body was in fight or flight. I was not there.
So I think being from that point on, that would be the actual information that I'm interested in.
That you want to hear about.
Because you and I have never truly discussed it in detail. I mean, you've told me a few things. You've alluded to, gave expression of things of that nature, but you never broke it down into literal pieces of how you came to derive at those beliefs.
So I think I touched on this before. The stuff that comes across from that plane of existence, it's not something you can easily, I mean, that's why you're in the ineffable. And we always joke about that, how that sounds, but you're in the ineffable, and to be able to bring back something effable from that, and I know I'm using that term incorrectly, but
I mean, I think it makes sense.
It's near impossible. So when I say I can't give you like, hey, I was in this place and this is what was around me, and it was, blue sky or castles made of gold. I can't tell you any of that. I can tell you how I felt when I came back. So that's why I've never told the full story, because I'm not sure it's really story worthy. But as far as I was concerned, and again, you're talking about a very physically traumatic situation, like what my body was going through in order to heal itself. Like your body will actually shock you into a coma all by itself so it can heal.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy. But the seizure, I think, was seizures are weird because it's a nervous thing where you get it's like static electricity. Like you get to a boiling point where once you get past that, it's any and every nerve that can fire, that's ready to fire, fires, but it's completely chaotic. And that goes out throughout not only your brain, but like a grand mal seizure like I had, works its way to everything. So any muscle that can, everything is going off, but randomly. And it feels, for the person experiencing it, amazing.
In what?
Because when it's happening, you're gone. Like leading up to that, the impulses aren't all, and I'll get back to that. The impulses aren't all making it to where they're supposed to. They're at a way station to protect you for a minute. Like everything happens so fast. The minute that happens, it flips a switch in your body. Like I can't even explain what happened, but I can tell you, for the person experiencing a seizure, you get an aura, which we've mentioned that word before. An aura is any kind of sensory stimuli. So it could be from an old memory, it could be watermelon, it could be, for me, it might be something like honeysuckle, something like I'm very comfortable and familiar with, like the smell of honeysuckle. Or it could be, like I said, with stroke, it could be the smell of burnt toast. You'll get that experience, like whatever stimuli what form that comes in, who knows? Could be a wave of colors. And then after that, it's like,
So you're saying aura, not in the traditional sense of glow about you, but
no, an aura, I believe that's the term it's used, is the sensory stimuli that is not external. It's something completely made up internally in your body. And it may be something connected to you as a person. Like it varies. It could be anything. That's why it's not just, what did you say, an aroma? Like it can be an aroma. It could also be just a sensation. Like some people can't explain what their aura is. But pretty much right after you have that, I guess the only thing you could compare it to is like a shot of morphine.
meaning
Like a decent shot of morphine. Like you just,
okay.
But your body's doing that whole thing though, while that's happening. Like you're gone. Like it's almost like your body knows, okay, I need to run I need to flip the switch and basically hit reset.
Yeah, I need a reboot.
And the only way to do that is to just wear out every nerve for a minute and let it reset. And while that's happening, you feel nothing. You feel euphoria.
I would assume that your conscious is being disconnected from the physical sensory aspect of your body. Because like you said, you're flipping that switch, it's disconnecting. So while your body is feeling and sensing, your ability to perceive that sensory information is disconnect.
And that is the weird thing too, because I would imagine that if my eyes were open, I would still be recording.
Well, yeah, again, that's what I was saying is, so your body, while the sensor, all the sensors are functioning in a sense, it's pulling in data, like you're saying, your perception is not connecting to it. Your brain's ingesting, but it's not sending for you to perceive it. Your consciousness is not allowed to have a connection to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like as if it was switched off.
Yeah.
Like it's still there. The signal's still there, but that frequency is switched off right now.
Okay.
And even more so for me, because of the severity of my injury, this is the thing I was trying to tell you is you're like, oh, I'm sure there was nothing going through your brain when that happened. And it's like, no, for a split second, which probably seemed like seconds to me at the time. Truthfully, the first thought in my head was, after the expletive.
Oh, fuck. It's okay. We're adults here. We can swear.
String of expletives, let's say. I didn't feel the impact. That was the very next thought. I was like, I didn't feel the impact. Like that should have really hurt. And that's when like it clicked for me and I went, oh fuck, this is bad. And this is, as I describe it, it was as if everything I'm seeing with my eyes is the TV screen, like the old tube TV.
Right.
And somebody had turned it off, but it was an old rickety one. And it wouldn't just shut off. It would slowly go down. Like it would go like down to here and then it would slowly go down to a point and then gone.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my reality. It just dissipated and then disappeared.
Okay.
And as far as I was concerned, I was in blackness for a few moments. And the next thing I remember was the smell first, was the smell of bleach. I smelled bleach from hospital cleaners.
Okay.
And it was just, it struck me because it was very stringent. It was very, like it was something you associate as a smell of a hospital. You know, the cleaning supplies, like everything.
The ammonia, chlorine kind of.
Whatever was, yeah. I mean, I picked it up as chlorine, but anyhow, I remember that first. And then I remember my dad standing over me, trying to get my attention. You know, what's your name? Do you know where you are? Do you know what year it is? Just anything to try and get me to turn my brain on and talk to him. And I think for, as far as I recall, it had to be at least a full 24 hours before I actually started speaking words at all. And again, this was a lot of trying to process whatever it was that I was receiving in the ineffable, which to this day, I'm not sure what. I had a spiritual friend of mine who was very into prayer and all this other stuff had told me at one point that that I had a veil removed while I was away. So I don't know if you've ever heard that reference before. But
I mean, you've said this to me and we've discussed it. So yes, I have a few
he
times.
said I had a veil removed so that I could see the world a little bit more like it really is before the accident. And that the place I was at, and this is the only place I've ever heard this from, but I still kind of carry it with me, is that I was sort of at the table with a council while I was away. So I don't know if it was like
Now, is this something that you're attempting to recall?
This is something that I'm trying to piece back together to figure out.
Okay, so you had, as you know, we'll put an idea around it, as if in a dream state of a sort, you have this perception that you were in the midst of an action that basically put you in front of a council.
This was what was told to me by this friend. Who?
Oh, well, see,
that's the thing. So I'm piecing this together from this emotion that I had coming back because I had such a disconnect with this reality anymore, even though I was very aware of everything while I was over there. I knew how old I was in this life. I knew everything about me, physically, everything about me, even to the point where I would know what my future person would do in any given situation. Like I knew myself fully. To be able to come back and be like, yay! It's weird. So for the first, I want to say at least 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, I didn't speak more than 5 words. And it was mostly like, not even words at times, you know.
Guttural responses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime I could avoid actually opening my mouth and saying words, like it was shrugs, affirmative, negative, you know.
Okay.
Because I was trying to process whatever that feeling I had when I got back. Because like I said, to me, I was away for moments in darkness. And then I was wakened by the smell of bleach in darkness and then opened my eyes to see my father over me. Like that. And a week and a half-ish, almost 2 weeks had passed.
Yeah, it was pretty close to. It was like
I know everybody was on watch with me, but all of my friends were coming on a routine.
I wasn't allowed to. Yeah, I was messed up.
Yeah,
I was pretty pissed at my parents about that.
no control over anything that was going on while I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, hardly even myself.
Yeah, I remember I didn't even get to see you until after you had come home, which was quite a bit of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, dude, I was pretty pissed about that. Because I mean, I remember when the accident happened, I was attempting to communicate to my parents that I need to go to the hospital with you because I'm like fearful for you.
Yeah.
And it's
And you were literally right there.
well, yeah, it's also at this point almost the middle of the night. It's like 11 something or whatever. You've been medevaced out and all this, and I'm in such shock of what's going on. I can't physically express in proper words for them to understand. To this day, they're just like, "Oh, we thought like he broke his arm or something. Why would you want to go to the hospital for
Well,
he
like
just
he
broke
broke
his
his head.
And I'm like, no, he was bleeding out of his ears, but I couldn't give that response because I'm just in awe of the situation.
Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of shock going around then.
Yeah. So I mean,
And I feel bad that I put that on everybody, but I literally that was meant to happen because it doesn't make sense that would happen the way it did. Like, why didn't I put my arm out? Why didn't I roll? Why didn't nothing? It was like that part of my body didn't work. I just fell flat over.
yeah.
Like any other time, why wouldn't you just put your feet out? It was just everything about it was weird. It was like it was stacked up to happen.
Well, you were facing backwards. You don't have balance to begin with. You at home don't know
Well,
this,
no,
but
mostly since then, but
yeah, we know this, but so you have momentum of 2-3 miles per hour.
It was like back on my heels, sort of. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you're there's barely any movement from you, but because it was in the direction of you being backwards, you pretty much only have the ability to fall backwards. And that's exactly what happened is you literally just timbered just straight back.
But
popped your
remember
head.
I hit the side of my head though. Like I remember that.
Well,
As the TV screen was going out, like I remember I hit that side of my head. Because I remember looking at the curb basically. And that was my view as I was going, fuck, this is bad.
well, and that's what I was saying is when I could finally notice the blood is because your head was tilted enough that I could see the reflection of the light from the moon coming off of the blood. Plus, there was also enough blood at this point. I mean, it's literally trailing, flowing like a river out of your ear, and that it's just shit set in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you fall backwards. I see the blood, and it's just. But so my question to you, going back to where you were at, you say you're attempting to bring together, I guess, a combination of what was expressed to you from your friend who has an ability to see the other side, we'll say,
Yeah.
as well as your
and this is all perception. So it is
right.
what it is.
But you're attempting to take that narrative from him as well as your own, as you expressed it, a sense of feeling. Because when you came back, you had a feeling that this was not where you were.
So I'll tell you exactly the most guttural part of the first feeling I had when I realized I was back in my body. And all of this, like I said, comes after the fact when I'm piecing it all together, that the feeling I had was like I was kind of, no, that's not a feeling. I was kind of pissed. Like I knew I had to be for some reason, but I didn't want to be back here. Like when I first woke up, because I guess the part of your mission is scrubbed from your memory when you wake, supposedly, because that's part of the game. Like you have to. So I could only remember anything from this life. I couldn't remember that person that I was over there.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like,
about
do you know
that.
what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, as we talk about when you get
this is why piecing this back together is really difficult. And that's why I've almost taken the stuff I heard from my spiritual friend as being fact instead of matter of fact, because when I review how I felt, I didn't want to be back here. Like, this is the place of suffering.
And I remember you putting it to me that way several times. So I mean, across the entire span. 'Cause, I mean, we're talking almost 30 years at this point, about 30 years at this point since it's happened.
All
But
the
that was
things.
one of the things you kept expressing is that you just put it now as you were pissed. But I think one of your earlier expressions was, "Fuck, I don't want to be here." So it wasn't so much that you were pissed; it was just like you understood that you were here in this construct. And you didn't want to be.
So if we want to call it the garden or whatever we want to call it, if you're in the garden, you don't have a want for anything. All the things that you work hard for and you suffer for in this world, they're all around you. Like everything, like anything you could possibly need. Everything is A-okay. Everything is Irie. You know what I mean? There's no better feeling. And then, yeah, to come back to this, and then you're like, if all you get is the memory of who you are and not what happened while you were away, it would make sense that I'd be like, why the did I have to come back here after everything I've been through?
Okay.
But is the truth of the matter that I wasn't finished what I was here to do, and that was actually kind of a refresher course to get me back on track? You know, did I need a humbling at that point? I mean, think about what age I was. I was 17. I was about to graduate high school. I was about to make the choices that would make or break the rest of my life. And if it sends me on a course that I'm not supposed to be, if you believe that kind of thing, then that was me that stepped in on my behalf and went, no, 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 no. Like, you are humbled right now. We're doing this. And that may have changed the course of events for me to be where I needed to be.
I mean, I can definitely agree with that part of it, but I mean, to say that that's the purpose behind it, obviously, I don't freaking know that, but you and I are very much the types that we believe the understanding that everything happens for a reason.
I do.
So if that's the rationale that you have out of it, I get that. See, one of my things that I'm curious is I've I've seen enough interviews with individuals that attempt to express their NDEs, and quite a few of them are able to basically give very descriptive answers, almost as if it was more of a DMT trip than actually breaching the ethereal plane, as it were. Whereas what you're attempting to express is there is more emotion or feeling associated with being there and not really having the ability to recall physical,
Specifics.
actual interactions of sorts or moments that had happened.
Well, again.
My point on that is I find that odd that there's enough individuals that express it in this fashion that they can recall these things, but yet you can't. And the reason being that I find it odd is because you and I have agreed many times that in coming to this construct as a conscious being, be it fifth, sixth, seventh dimension, your memory is basically wiped of all things outside of here. You're a blank slate when you enter this construct. So when you say it in that fashion, like, I get that. But that's why, to me, it's odd is why is it that for you that's how it is, and then these other individuals with their NDE expressions have a very different take, as well as supposed actual memories from there. And I'm not asking you that as a question.
I mean, it's a great question.
I'm just
it's
curious as
certainly
to
something I've contemplated before. I mean, when you have this kind of injury, and you're a thinker to begin with, you contemplate every aspect of it. You know, what kind of person would I have been if it hadn't happened to me? You know, how would that have changed me?
It seems odd to me that, because again, our belief system is, as we come into this world, all of other stuff, you know, any and all information from the other realms is wiped from our brains, or we don't have the ability to access that information. So to me, it seems odd that,
or maybe
you know,
it's
with
on a
us,
need to know.
it seems odd to me that you and I having that understanding that it would be in that fashion. Like, that's not the odd part, but these other individuals that claim to have had these near-death experiences can recall these things. It makes me question whether or not they actually traverse to that other side, or, as we were discussing another time, where DMT takes you to a possible other realm. You know, we were discussing, where do you go when you dream?
Is it the same place? Or
Well, right. So could it be more of they were in a state of, you know, DMT that seems as though it's transcendence, gives them a sense of being in this other place, and they're recalling those memories because they never actually left. So I find that odd in that regard. It makes me think that maybe you did actually leave and they didn't. Not to say they did or didn't. It just, this is me expressing, you know, as you're telling me these things.
Well, from being where I was, maybe I was just the one that left them. Or
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm saying you actually left this realm.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like, your consciousness literally went to the other side, fifth, sixth dimensional.
that's how it feels.
Whereas the other individuals that are attempting to say, "Oh, I saw Jesus when I did this," and it's like,
Oh,
did you, or did you just go on a DMT trip that your brain produced this higher level, and you basically had a trip, and that's why you're able to recall it. You know, they're able to recall it, and you're not, because maybe you actually went to the other side. This is just the thought that I'm having.
and I don't even know if I'd go as far as to say like the.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not
'Cause it
saying that to
almost-
discredit the other individuals. This is the thought that popped into my head.
It almost feels as if like we're, because I say council, like it was almost like I mean, obviously a beautiful room and huge, but not again words. um, Something that was purpose built, as opposed to a room that you would just like this, that you would just live or relax or eat, or it was purpose built for a meeting.
Gotcha.
Like I just get that feeling that where I was maybe like a review. Like, okay, are we doing, you know, it seems like we're supposed to be here and because I kind of always believed that even when I was little, that I'm not this. Like, I've
Yeah.
always been seeking whatever it is that was on that other side. That's me. That's really me. Like, I've always truly felt that. And like in every part of my aspect of my personality that makes me stumble, that doesn't happen over there. Like, that's me. And that's connected, I think, to the same thing that everyone is connected to. If you want to call it capital G, you know.
I mean, I've never had what I would claim to be a near death experience. I've definitely had some very interesting incidences that left a mark on me. I mean, when I was 8, I was in a car accident and I had wound up hitting my head on the dashboard, and I had lost my vision for quite a few minutes. But, I mean, when you're 8, almost 9, definitely a little freaky.
Mm.
I could hear, I could feel, I had no perception of sight. And what felt like 10, 15, 20 minutes was probably more of like 30 seconds at best. But for those few moments, it's, oh shit, am I stuck like this? You know? But then as it slowly came back and light entered and I could start to see shapes and
Was that I mean, that experience itself sounds funny because it's not like it was just off and then on. It was like a slow, blurry
not, I
colors.
wouldn't even say blurry. It just light started to come in almost in the sense of, say you have glass that is extremely tinted to the point that no light can come through, and that density slowly becomes more opaque. So the tint, in a sense, thinner and thinner and thinner. So more and more light comes in.
Transition lens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was definitely a transition of, because there wasn't blurriness or anything of that nature. It was more of just there wasn't, and then it slowly came back, and then it just was there.
It's so weird.
I mean, honestly, I probably had a concussion from that, but we didn't know about that kind of shit back then.
That can
that-
mess
that
your
would-
eyesight up. Yeah,
That would, I mean, I see great now, so I'm good. But yeah, it's so while I didn't have near death per se, it's definitely freaky. So I don't have anything to truly draw from.
Any trauma is like freaky because I've been there on a couple of occasions where I had full recollection to this day of stuff that's happened, like the cut in my leg.
Well, yeah. So you had brought up when you had initially hit your head, you were talking about how while it was mere milliseconds, perhaps,
Possibly.
and you were able to have conscious enough discussion with yourself that seemed to transpire across multiple seconds. So what could have been milliseconds,
It felt like a few seconds.
yeah, 5, 6, 10, whatever, but it had an exaggeration to it. As I've had plenty of car accidents. I got a lot of miles on me.
Yeah.
I've had enough accidents at this point where when it's about to come on, the adrenaline kicks in and time dilation basically hits, and I can actually have conversations with myself, make conscious decisions, and react to do those decisions in milliseconds.
Yeah. Your bloodstream is rushed with like endorphins and all kinds of other stuff too.
Yeah, adrenaline, yeah, everything. You're just all
Adrenaline,
pumped up, and
endorphins,
your
like-
system is on high alert, and it's perceiving that much faster.
Yeah.
So your time perception becomes elongated because of that.
Yeah.
And so I can understand that regard of what you're saying, but again, I'd like to understand better, because again, you're pulling from the fact that you had a friend who has supposed ability to kind of see the other side, has had his own veil lifted or multiples, but with the information that you were given with that in conjunction with the feelings that you had, because again, as you've said multiple times, when I realized I was back here in this construct, you're like, well, fuck, this sucks.
I was disappointed. Yeah.
I wasn't really, I was kind of bummed.
I mean, I accepted it very quick. I'm just saying that was like literally the first thought I had when I realized, like, before you actually start doing this, like I realized I could feel the edges of my body again.
Yeah.
No edges. Edges.
And the thing that I get from that is I've had enough lucid dreams. And I mean, they're literal dreams, but I'm fully lucid. I'm in control. I know it's a dream and I can do things in it. Waking up from them and then realizing that I'm here in this construct, it's like, son of a bitch, I want to go back. It's like, dude, I was enjoying that
those
shit.
Those are fun. Yeah.
So
I've had those where I had like, is it telekinesis? Is that what you call it? Where you can move stuff?
Yeah, yes, because telepathic is
kinetic energy.
Yeah, telekinetic is the
something.
physical. Yeah, because telepathic is just brain to brain in a sense.
Telekinesis.
Like you can read minds, as they would call it. Or
collection of fast cars. I had a mansion. I had every stupid thing you could possibly want in this world of stuff. Like pile of gold all around me. Just dumb stuff. Just everything. Anything. Fast cars, motorcycles.
Yeah.
And it was like all that. It was like, no, kind of silly, but
Well, and I don't
but
think
the
it's.
telekinesis was part of it. I don't know.
I
Maybe
mean,
that's how I made it rich.
I've definitely had dreams of that nature, but and that's not dumb. The way I look at it is, if you have any want and all needs met, then what would you truly want or need for? So it changes your perception of it changes your perception of wanting or needing things.
Or is that the human's brain trying to figure out what heaven really is?
Well, that goes to
Like I had everything I needed. I was in a good mood. Everything was awesome.
Well,
Like
yeah,
that's
and
why I was like, no.
well, and that goes to I've told this story before where the difference between heaven and hell is one thing. So in hell, you have all the same things as you do in heaven, but in hell, you're very ego driven, egocentric, and you negate the ability to help others or want to help others.
Yeah.
Whereas in, in heaven, you still have the same stuff, but you're willing to share and give of things. The expression,
I just told you there's no edges.
but the expression was to paint a more accurate picture is you have a feast in front of you and all of these people are around this table. You have no elbows. Well, if you have no elbows, your arms are dead straight. You literally can't put food or
feed
drink to
yourself.
your mouth.
Yeah.
So in hell, you would starve to death. You'd have this massive feast and anything you could ever want or need, and you could have no use of it. Whereas in heaven, you're just like, oh, you need a drink? Here, buddy. And you hook your friend up. And then your friend hooks you up and so on and so on. So you have all of what you want and need, but you can actually give to one another. That's the difference. And that's why I say if you have all that you could ever want or need, and you truly enjoy it for what it is, you truly share and give,
All the same tools were at your
then yeah, why
reach,
would you would no longer truly have want or need? It would just be fun, cool shit to do stuff with.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming back here, like you said, there's only suffrage associated with that stuff.
Not only.
What you said,
Otherwise we wouldn't do it.
you said it's a place of suffering.
It's a place of suffering.
So that's why I'm making that correlation or that crossover is that it's
The problem is the suffering is necessary for the good stuff too. Otherwise you wouldn't.
But my point to all of that is, if you were truly fulfilled with all wants and needs, coming here, having these things in front of you, but realizing you don't have elbows and nobody's going to help you, yeah, I'd be a little pissed too. Like, son of a bitch.
But how you deal with that, I think, is a great life lesson though. Like life could be great if you learn how to serve others. Isn't that the lesson you get from that?
I think so. Well, it's not even so much serve others, but the willingness to serve others.
Well, but in that specific scenario, you're literally serving your fellow man.
Well, correct. But yeah, but to
And
me,
I love the heaven hell story that you brought that up before. I love that.
it paints an accurate word picture. It really paints a understanding that heaven and hell is literally perception. It's how you perceive it. And that's why you can have the understanding of heaven on earth, because we do have all that we could want or need in front of us. Like you just said, is you have to earn it. You have to suffer to get there. And
You have to suffer to understand it.
well, the same regard, because whether it's a perception, an idea, physical consumption of something, you still have to give up something to get it. There's a trade there. But as we've gone back and forth multiple times, this construct is built on differentiation. You have to give to get. You have to get to give. I mean, it all balances out.
That goes down to Hermetic principles. Yeah. Like in order to have balance, you don't know what light is without dark, right? All these things have to exist in a physical manifestation. That's the whole point of those Hermetic principles, because and in everything, and that's what's funny. It's all reflections, but as above, so below.
Well, yeah, and that I pointed out many times before is that's the dichotomy of this construct. Is in order to perceive, you have to have difference, but that's a part of the whole space-time aspect. It was here, now it's here. Well, that's differentiation. That's how we can understand or perceive things, and that's how this world, as far as I'm aware, is built around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be a little pissed if I had to come back to that too. It's like, man, I got to deal with difference again
I mean,
instead of just being.
everything is solid state. And if we're not careful as humans, we become solid state if we don't move too much. Mentally.
Yeah.
That everything here is solid state, meaning it's not just energetic. It is energetic, but it's energetic stuck in a solid state.
Yeah.
Whatever that place was, like I said, no edges. How do you explain that other than just no edges? Like, I don't think that I'm doing for you because you are my right arm. You're part of me, even if I never met you before.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to the Karis one thing where he's talking about how this air in front of you, this thing that you can't see or perceive, is consciousness in and of itself. So I get that.
It actually is an Eastern belief, though. But they use the word chi. That if you don't breathe, you're not taking in chi. And that's the life force of everything.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good spot to try to cut it, because I do want more in-depth aspect of your feelings, because you're trying to recall information of experience, but you only have feelings. But
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
we should come back to this so that we can talk more about your feeling, because you can't really recall it as a memory.
Yeah, it's not something that's in words. It's not something that you can express. It's taken me a long time to work through all that, and yeah, we totally come back to that.
Well, yeah, because I think in having this conversation so far, it's allowed you to understand a little. Well, I wouldn't say a little bit more, but to have a wider or greater understanding, because now you've had an additional perspective to kind of take in, as you call them, thought experiments, and play with this a little bit more and see if you can pull feeling or memory or either or from that. And I'd like to, having you have that time to digest what we just did,
to
see,
reflect more.
yeah, to see if it would bring not so much a different answer, but a greater perspective to what we've already discussed at this point.
I mean, I want to be careful because part of what I'm doing when I do that is I'm crafting.
Yeah.
So I have to be honest about it, that it sounds like a fanciful story. Is he making it up? And it's like, I'm trying to piece together this as a part of my life. I'm not doing this for fame and fortune.
Well,
and as long as we've been doing this show, we've never actually told the full story.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's why I was bringing up that point earlier where I said you're having a difficult time trying to express a physical memory, whereas these other individuals that I've had, I've watched their interviews of them having these NDE experiences, they can recall these very grandiose stories. Makes me think, to a sense, is, either DMT trip of a sort, or they're just making this shit up. They're attempting, and not like they're fabricating lying in a sense, but they're attempting, like I'm asking you to do, to take these feelings and turn them into memory of a sense.
Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to piece it together, right? Just meaning, so if you're taking the, by definition, ineffable means you can't put it into words.
Yeah.
So if you're taking a very layered emotion that it may take a long time. I mean, you ever been in a rip-roaring argument and you don't even know why you're so pissed off? And then it takes a day or two to think about it.
Yeah, recall that.
And it's weird. It's almost like you're trying to figure out how you got in the accident in the first place from before the time that it happened. Because it's almost like you drove right to it.
You're right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I get
it's
that.
a weird emotional, like, okay, I got to break down what just happened back there. So in a way, it's very similar to that. Like, I got in a big argument. There was a big scuffle. I don't know what happened. And now I'm trying to piece together why I let it get that far.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, emotionally, I feel like maybe I put that there as a breakwater to be like, I see what path you could go down right now. And I'm going to just, which is funny that again, maybe those were all stepping stones I needed to be on, even though it wasn't part of the path. It was.
Right. I get that.
But anyway, I'm going like tangent off my own tangent.
That's okay. But yeah, that's I would like to have
to get back to the nitty gritty
Yeah.
of the and
'cause
yeah,
I
that's
mean-
going to take some more piecing together. But again, that's why I preface that with I have to make a story up to try and express an emotion that's ineffable. So it may sound like this fanciful, oh, he's just BSing. And it's not, it's how do I put something, like I don't even know how to say it in another way, something that's ineffable into words that it was never meant to be.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about, what was it? Like I said, my dream state puts together the fact that it's gold and fancy vehicles and a nice house. But
Well,
that's how it tries to express to me something that can't be expressed.
Yeah.
This is everything you could possibly want in this world, to feel comfort
Well,
and love and
right.
well, maybe everything except for love in that particular scenario. But
Yeah, your brain's utilizing your known linguistic system
through
to
pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, it's attempting to take the word picture and turn it into words. So you have to use a vocabulary system that you understand.
But this I'm starting with isn't even pictures.
Yeah.
It's just it's literally here. There's no involvement with the brain or the mind even.
It's your feeling.
It's straight here because I don't think communication works through the brain at all. The brain is for processing math problems. Which
we can bring that up on the next one too.
Yeah, we'll get back to this.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I would you at home, if you've had an NDE or maybe you have an idea of what they are, if you've even had a DMT trip, whatever. If there's anything about this that you feel you can relate to, yeah, hit us in the comments. As well as if there was any part of this conversation that you enjoyed or didn't like, or you felt we misrepresented or anything of that nature, hit us in the comments. We want to interact. We love when you guys reach out to us. We get to have these amazing conversations. It's kind of the point of doing this. So,
yeah, man.
But yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, and
I know you do that really well. Your cuppage is on point.
The cuppage.
As well as stick around for the end. Bloopers. We put your names in the credits. Watch. If your name's not in there, hit us in the comments. We'll totally add you.
We'll do that.
We'll do. As well as we appreciate you. We love you. Can't wait to see you all again. And be good to yourself. Be good to everything else.
Much love.
Peace.
Peace. Peace. I'm telling you, man. It's not my fault. Let me see.
Turn the mic up.
Yeah, probably should. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Go.
So. Bad. Oh, done?
Question so we can split it to me and then. All right. Ready for the clap? Hey.
Yep.
Deal with that later. And 1, 2, 3.
Week or are we going a different direction altogether? Can't remember. Sorry. Fidgety. I can't help it. Go. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was rough, man. I feel guilty that I wasn't actually there to experience that with you guys. I don't know. I'll continue that later. Are we looking at the clock here? But
bloopers. But then as it slowly came back and light entered and I could start to see shapes and...
You ready?
Find a cut and then bring it back in. The light came in. I could start to...
What's that? Well, where were we? Blah. Yeah. Wrap it up, B. This is good, though.
Bottling to coming back to this at some point, but ready for a clap. And 1, 2, 3. Probably a good spot to wrap it up. And then
Think of how we wrapping this up.